Little reminder there for those who join us to leave a comment. Let us know that you watched, whether live or whether you watched back later. We're glad that you've joined us. So let's go ahead and begin. Once again, I'm Alan Rigg from Sola Church, the lead pastor of Sola Church. We are launching this fall in Santa Monica. So being 6 months this side of launching, hi Mia, there are so many things that we can't do, but there are other things that we can do. And so we're focused on those. And one of the things that we can do is we can connect with our new friends in Santa Monica and on the west side of LA, and obviously beyond, across the country and around the world, by just bringing a little word of encouragement. And so that's what we've been trying to do each day this week. Monday through Saturday of this week, we've been doing these 10-minute devos. That's short for devotional. That's kind of a churchy word, if you'll forgive me for putting it that way, for just an encouraging, inspiring, hope-giving little talk. So we're going to do another one of those today. And then Sunday at the same time, 1 o'clock on Sunday, we're going to do like we did last weekend, only better. We're going to do like a little mini 30-minute pop-up service here from where we are on Facebook Live. Hopefully we can actually do a couple of worship songs with Miranda. If you've never heard my wife Miranda sing, you're going to love it. And then a brief message. So today we are continuing with this series that we're calling How to Pray. We have right now a reason and a season to pray, right? So many things to pray about as we go through this crisis together, but also an unusual amount of time to do that. Many of us are working from home or maybe not working at all. And so we've just got a lot more flexibility than normal. We've got a lot more downtime than normal. And one of the ways that we can use that is praying. But how do you pray? What do you say to God? How do you say it? So when Jesus gave us the Lord's Prayer, he gave us a model prayer that we could use to know how to talk to God in the midst of any situation. So today we're coming to the fifth of the six petitions. And in this sixth petition, as found here in Matthew chapter 6, it says, "And forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors." So this fifth petition is forgive us. It says, forgive us our debts or forgive us our sins. A lot of people understandably feel uncomfortable with that word sin, like maybe even take offense. The word translated sin just means to miss the mark, and we all do. Everyone I know would agree that nobody's perfect. So with that in mind, if nobody's perfect, then we all need to understand about praying for forgiveness. And, again, part of what's unique about this time is that maybe we have more time than normal for reflection. Maybe if you're not a person of faith, you have had time to just think about your life and to think about what's most important to you and to think about the kind of person that you are becoming and that you aspire to be. And then even for those of you that are people of faith, for those of you that are followers of Christ, it could be that you've taken advantage of this time to read the Bible. Maybe that's something you haven't been doing regularly, but you've started to do that again. Or like we're talking about in this little series, maybe you've taken time to pray. And so all of that reflection can lead to a greater degree of self-awareness, right? And that part of that can be realizing that there are things that maybe aren't right, things that aren't the way they should be, things that we need to talk to God about. But also there's a lot of togetherness, right? Think about the people that you're writing this out with. It's entirely possible that all of that togetherness has led to a little bit of conflict. And maybe it's even exposed some of your flaws. Maybe it's exposed some of mine. I don't think that this crisis or this togetherness has created flaws in us, but it may very well have exposed flaws in us that were harder for us to be aware of, or easier for us to sort of brush under the carpet when life was hectic and busy. So with all of that in mind, there's a verse in a book called First John 1 verse 9. It says that if we confess our sins, He is faithful and just to forgive us. And not only that, but it adds to cleanse us from all unrighteousness. Some scholars think that means that not only does he forgive us, but in cleansing us, he removes the guilty feelings. Wouldn't that be a great thing? Some of us carry a lot of guilt um, for things that we've said, for things that we've done. And maybe you're feeling guilty right now about how you've responded or reacted to this crisis or to people near you, in the last week or two. And so God not only wants to forgive us for those mistakes, but he wants to take away those guilty feelings. So for you and for me, as we become aware of those things that maybe aren't right, those things that we need to ask God to forgive us for, what we want to do is we want to acknowledge our sin and we want to ask him to forgive us. It's best if we choose to be specific, like, God, forgive me for, and then specifically say what it is. And it's great if we do that as soon as possible. I would even say that it's a mark of personal and spiritual growth when we're not okay with letting that go for a long time. When instead, the moment we become aware of something not being right between us and God, we want to stop and talk to him about it immediately. That again is a mark of growth. It's a way to measure our maturity. But notice that the prayer request goes on. Not only does it say, forgive us our debts, but it says, as we forgive our debtors. And so that's important. Part of what Jesus is saying here, and part of what he said in other places, is that forgiven people forgive people. Unforgiven people don't. So what does your ability or inability to forgive others say about you and say about your relationship with God and about whether or not you have, in fact, been forgiven? I was talking before about all of this togetherness and how, it may expose some of our flaws. There could be some tension maybe in your home where you're writing this out. I've heard a lot of jokes made about two extremes. I've heard a lot of people predicting that there are going to be a lot of babies born in December. That would not surprise me. But I've heard other people joke about the fact that there may also be a lot of people filing for divorce before this whole thing is over. And of course, that's not actually funny at all. We don't want to see that happen to anybody. I've been through a divorce and I know, better than most, how painful it is and how difficult that is to go through that is. But with that in mind, people are recognizing, as people are being humorous about that, they're just recognizing again that all of this togetherness could expose flaws and it could lead to tension and so forth. So here's what I want to say about that forgiveness is the single most important thing in any relationship. The truth is, we're all going to sin. We're all going to miss the mark. As we acknowledged already, nobody's perfect. So we're all going to need to be forgiven. Sometimes people are afraid, well, but if I forgive, this person who keeps hurting me, I'm simply, going to be enabling them. Well, there's a lot that could be said about that, but I'm just going to make this one point that as a rule, rather than forgiveness enabling people to continue to sin against us, forgiveness actually empowers them not to. You could think of forgiveness as oxygen. So, those people in our lives that maybe are hurting us, our forgiving them is what fills the room with the spiritual oxygen that they need if they are going to change, if they are going to stop hurting us, if they are going to stop wounding us. Our forgiveness is actually going to empower them in that way. So it's interesting that Jesus chose to use the word debt and debtor with regard to, sinning and needing forgiveness and extending forgiveness. It gives us a way to think about forgiving. If sin is a debt, then to forgive is to let go of that debt. So if I forgive someone, I'm not saying that what they did wasn't wrong. I'm not saying that what they did didn't hurt me. But what I am saying is that holding on to it is hurting me. So I'm letting go of it. I'm going to let go of that sense that that person owes me. I'm just going to do away with that. So if I were praying this prayer in the midst of this crisis, I might pray something like, God, thank you for forgiving me, and thank you for the price that you paid to make that forgiveness possible. Thank you that you love me and that you love the people around me that much. God, make me kind, tenderhearted, forgiving. Help me to extend grace, especially to my family. Help me to cut them some slack. Help me to let things go, and give me the humility to admit when I'm wrong. May I be quick to apologize, to ask for forgiveness, to make things right. Well, as always, I hope this has been encouraging to you and given you another way that you can pray during all of this downtime. So just a reminder, we're launching Sola Church in Santa Monica this fall. And our online startup parties that were scheduled to begin in March and to be in person have been moved back to April and are going to be online. So we are going to have two of those in April. They're probably going to be on the weekend, on a Saturday or a Sunday, probably going to be late afternoon, say around 4 p.m. We will announce officially those details just in the next day or two. We're finalizing those plans. So thank you for your patience with that. But these startup parties are going to be like 1 hour events. They're like an interest meeting, but way more fun. And trust me, even online, we can make it really engaging and really fun for everybody who's interested in being a part of the launch of Sola Church, to be a part of that, to join us for that. So if you're interested, please message us. If you're watching right now on Facebook, or if you're watching later on Facebook, message us on our Facebook page, or go to our website, solachurch.life. All of our contact information is there. You can call us. You can email us. You can follow us on other forms of social media and DM us. We just need to know that you're interested and get your contact information so that we can let you know the minute we have those specific details. So again, I hope you'll join us at the same time tomorrow, where we'll finish up the Lord's Prayer, and then at the same time on Sunday, where we'll do a 30-minute pop-up service. Miranda will lead a little bit of worship. I'll share a message that'll be maybe twice as long as what we've been doing in these little devos. God bless you guys. Thanks for joining us. Have an awesome Friday.